Hi everyone, my name is Alex. Alright, let's just get started. So I'm pretty sure that all of you probably read to your children on a fairly regular basis. And reading is really important for your child because it helps them develop the skills necessary to succeed all throughout their schooling. But have you ever thought about the kinds of things that you talk about with your child while you're reading a story? Or do you just simply maybe read the words on the story and that's it? Or do you really have a conversation with your child and dissect those words and understand the meaning of the whole story? There are things that you can do intentionally while you're reading aloud to your child that will help benefit them greatly in the long run and give them a jump start on important skills they will need throughout all of their school. Because this is a thing that I would really want to know as a parent, I'm going to tell you how you can do this in 3 simple, easy ways that won't overwhelm you in any way. So the first thing I will explain is how to just point to the words, and that helps your child develop, it will help them understand how print works in a book. Secondly, I will explain how talking about unfamiliar words will really help develop your child's already quickly growing vocabulary. And finally, I'll talk about how asking open-ended questions will help them develop critical thinking skills that they're going to need. So now that I've just thrown these 3 random facts at you, how will we break them down a little bit? The first tip I said was pointing to the words in the book as you read them. And this is a really simple adjustment to make when you're reading aloud. And what it does is while your child is watching you point to the words, he's understanding or she is understanding that these words have meaning. And when you're pointing to the words, it actually says something. And it's linked to what you're saying. It also helps because as you're turning the pages, and I'm sure you've seen even very young children, they know how to turn the pages in the book, and that's because they watch you as a parent. They're watching you when you're reading, turn the pages, or when you're reading to them. They watch you turn the pages, and they know that you read from the left side to the right side, and then you turn the page, and then you do it over again. Or they know that you read from top to bottom of the page, or left to right. These are all simple things that are created just from them watching you physically read the book. So, are you surprised that something as simple as just pointing to the words on the page will benefit your child so much? Let's move on to the next tip. So the next one is defining vocabulary words. Although this is pretty simple, you don't need to fall into the trap of defining every single word that might be unfamiliar to your child. You really just want to pick out probably 3 to 5 vocabulary words that they may not be completely aware of the meaning of these words. And it doesn't even have to be a dictionary definition of the words either. It can just be anything that is going to help them understand the meaning of the word and the context that it's used. Something that's going to give them a deeper meaning, really, of the word. So is it still seeming manageable? These steps are really not hard to do. It's just remembering to do them. The last one was asking open-ended questions. That open-ended questions are ones that don't necessarily have a right or wrong answer or a yes or no answer. What it is they are questions that are really just open to interpretation, and it's whatever really is on your child's mind at the time. So when you do something, when you begin a story and you read it and you just read the title, for instance, and you could say, what do you think the story would be about, or is going to be about? And they were going to tell you whatever they think the story might be about, depending on what the title you just read. And there's a million different kinds of open-ended questions that you could ask while you're reading the book as well, and they differentiate, obviously, with every single book that you read, depending on the topics. But just some general questions you could ask are things like you could ask them about their opinion of the book, or something that happened in the book. You could ask them at maybe a pivotal point in the book, you could say, what do you think is going to happen next? And they could tell you. Or really just anything that taps into the background knowledge of your child. This will help them relate to the book in any way. And after you're done reading the book, you could ask questions like, is this like another book that we've read? Or maybe you have a more advanced learner, and you could ask them a question like, could you think of a different ending for the book? And that would be probably for more older children, but anyway, so this last suggestion is probably more difficult just because you have to put effort into thinking about what kinds of questions you're going to ask. But the more you practice, the easier it really does get. So we've talked about things such as pointing to the words, defining words, and asking open-ended questions, all as great ways to impact your child's experience with the book. Not only are these things great for your child, they're easy to implement also, and it doesn't matter your ethnicity, your gender, your age. These tips are useful for anyone who reads to children aloud. So next time that your child asks you to read their favorite book, try using these tips, because I will guarantee that you will be pleasantly surprised at how creative and intelligent your children really are.